Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And I wanted to do this lesson yesterday. There was this alert that was put out that was basically saying that today, being October 7th, I think it was the FBI and the DHS were warning about potential, T attacks on this day, right? Because of it being the 1 year, 1 year since last year's October 7th attacks. But this warning was for potential threats in the U.S., right, on U.S. soil. And the thing about it is, it does a couple of things, right? Of course, number one, it has people on their guard or on their watch, at least those that even heard about this, right? And also, matter of fact, I do want to mention that as well, which is that, interestingly enough, the things that we discuss, we do videos on, the information that we come across, it's to us, it's now kind of common because through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, through the body that He has set up, we have avenues to this information, to staying up to date. Like, we have access to the watchtower, right? Let me put it like that, right? We have access to the watchtower, so we constantly see if the second something happens in the east, we know, right? If there's some alert put out, we know, right? If there's some memo that comes out, we know, we hear about it, because the Lord has given us access to the watchtower, and He has set up the body to where we're all, on the same page with one another, right? And in tune with prophecy. Now, with that being said, a lot of these things that we consider to be common knowledge or common information that you should know or should be aware of, most people don't, right? Most people are not aware of that. It isn't until you tell them, because a lot of them, even if this was, put in your face, a lot of them are not looking because they're distracted by the things of this world, by their life, whatever duties it is that they have to deal with. Okay, they are distracted by that. So at the end of the day, when it comes to things like these alerts, they go out, and until mainly a lot of people hear the news, oh, that's a spirit. This license plate says 666, right? KZH. Kind of sound like cars are, but KZH 666. That's crazy. Anyway, so now I almost lost my train of thought. Anyway, the point is that a lot of these people are not aware of this information here. They're constantly distracted, but we're aware, right? 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So now, pivoting back to his devices, by putting out a memo on alert like this, one, this isn't the first time, right? This is not the first time they've said that. And there was a time they kept saying that, what was it? The FBI, I think it was Christopher Wray, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was his name. He mentioned seeing red lights, right, or red flags everywhere, as in the threat of T attacks. Sometime after that, it came out, right? I think it was an ex-border patrol chief, or he was somebody high up in there, came out and mentioned how the Biden administration had pretty much put a lid on him, to where they couldn't report the actual amount of incidents or encounters they had with either potential or people that are on or associated with, terrorist groups and stuff like that, right? So long story short, they've been warning about the borders being open, a lot of these foreign nationals coming in without being vetted, right? Just being let in, and so they're currently in the country, a good amount of them. And since October 7th of last year, the nation's borders have still been open, and countries have been people have been getting brought in by the bus loads. So the point is, you don't know who is in the country right now. And even if today just goes by, la di da, nothing happens here like they warned about on the U.S. soil. The goal here is they've been warning about this for some time now. So it shouldn't come as too big of a surprise when something like this does happen. It's called conditioning. Okay, that's how they condition the minds of the people to where they'll say, "Hey, look, this isn't, the FBI, the DHS, they've been constantly sounding the alarm about the potential for this, the potential for this, and now we finally see boom, boom, boom." Right? So that's the second aspect of that. But as the scriptures tell us in the book of Ephesians, the apostle Paul said it, right, that we ought to walk circumspect, okay, redeeming the times because the days are evil, right? So not to walk as fools, but but as wise, redeeming the time. So we understand that we are in perilous times, and we understand that with how perilous these times are, really an attack or an incident can come from any angle. As a matter of fact, you just had Hurricane Helen, however you want to call it, and just now they're talking about Hurricane. What's his name? Mac. I think it starts with an M. See if I can find something on that. Um, yeah, I saw a notification on that. Just trying to see if I can find something else on that. But this one is in Florida. Okay. Anyway, I'm sure you know which one it is. So yeah, it's like Hurricane M something, Max something. Um, that is now, they said, is now turning into a Category 5 hurricane. So just like that, right? You just had one devastated, a good portion. I think it was the Carolinas, and then now you have another one coming for Florida. So not only do you have these natural disasters that are going on, but you also have, like I mentioned, an attack that can come from any angle at this point. The economy doesn't look good, right? The economy doesn't look good. Physically, things are not looking good. It's pretty much looking bad for a lot of cases here in Babylon. You know, and so that's why the scriptures is very important to take these scriptures to heart, to pray and to stay in the spirit, because at any point this thing could go down, and just know when the Lord gives the green light, because it ultimately comes from the commandment of Yahweh, right? Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. When the Lord gives the green light to say, all right, let loose, that's the day that everything changes. No, from that point, you don't go back to normal. You can't go in reverse. You can't try to buy more time and, I need to prepare. No such thing. Okay, no such thing. It's you, your faith, and the living God. Okay, and then you see how everything else. This is why it is written in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. As you keep on reading, it starts to go into the thoughts of the wicked, right? The thoughts of the ungodly, or those that walk in the ungodly path, and how they start to have this regret by realizing not only, number one, that those that they disregarded were truly the ones the Lord had chosen, but also that the time they spent doing the things that they did in their life was all vain, because all of those things are wiped away without a trace, and they find themselves having put in work and gone in wayward ways, rather than to go down the path of the Heavenly Father, right? The path of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. And very soon that's what's going to happen when that realization sinks in, because all this is like a house of cards. It's temporary. It's gonna break down very soon. They never meant, the same people that have deceived the world, that a lot of people trust in, they never meant or intended for this artificial society to continue forever. Because this artificial society, at least the way it is right now, this isn't their new world order. It's just a temporary state, a transition state into what they want, which is where AI, technology, digital age, that's what they want, right? So when they start bringing everything down, they knock down that house of cards with whatever angle they find most convenient. Guess what? That realization is going to set in. Everything you've been working so hard for is just going to disappear, and you're going to be left with nothing. being afraid. How do you take care of yourself and your loved ones? You don't know. Everybody's just stressed, and that's the point where you don't want to be at. All right, that's not a position that anybody wants to find themselves in. But at the end of the day, this is the will of the Lord. This is prophecy. So that's why we do the things we do now. Now, speaking of prophecy, I also saw earlier today, I think there was a article on Putin getting ready to have talks with Iran. I forgot where it said that they would have these talks, but they're going to be having talks with Iran. So once again, we're shifting closer and closer. We're seeing these prophecies, closer and closer. Right? We're like, oh, that's not a surprise. It's just, it's about time, right? It's a matter of time. And if you go and watch our videos from years ago, right, and even the videos of the elders who they've been teaching longer, if you go and watch the videos when we talk about World War III, the key players we talk about on, who's going to be against who's going to be on whose side, that's the same. We're still mentioning that today, because at the end of the day, it comes down to what? One thing, which is prophecy. Prophecy, prophecy, prophecy. Okay, so going back to the point that I mentioned here, dealing with this whole threat of a T attack, we got to keep our eyes open and see, because now we're seeing that whatever's happening in the East is not isolated to the East, right? It's something that's happening over there, but it's having effects all around the world. And then very soon you're gonna go from seeing just like regular protests, right? Oh, they're doing a protest here, they're lifting up their cards and banners and they're saying this and that, to now something more draconian. They have everything in place. The pieces are in place. The troops are in place. The laws and legislations, as in terms of what it is they want to enact and how intense and severe they want it to be. The simulations, they have all these things. It's like somebody preparing to go to war, and they set up the ammunition, they get their guns, they load up the clip, they take off the safety, and then all they got to do now is pull the trigger. So, like I mentioned in the beginning of the lesson, right, and also tying it with 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 3, about when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. Right now, with all these warnings that they're giving out, that most people are just going past their ears, it'll be any random day, right? Any day just like this, boom, what the hell just happened, right? Oh shit, there's a developing story about this and that, and then, and then all of a sudden, something that might start off small, like even though it's a big deal, it's like small, but it escalates into something big, or it's just boom, big right off the bat, simultaneous. Whatever it is, that's why I call it something. Whatever it is, but any day now, any random day, it'll happen. And when it happens, those in the know are gonna know what's going on, right? They're gonna know, okay, something just happened. We gotta watch and see. But this thing is looking like it's a major catalyst here. But that's why it's going to be sudden, because for those that are not paying attention, to them, they're not going to be expecting something like this to happen. In their minds, oh, I don't think that'll happen. It's too far out there. That's why it's going to be such a surprise for them. Even though you can go and look at these sources, we're not the ones who are controlling the FBI. We don't own the DHS. We're not the ones who are writing these articles here. These are alternative sources. Same sources that were in opposition to the things that we were warning about. They're coming out and warning about the same things now. So it's just a matter of time, and we're getting closer and closer to that month, right, November. So let's see what the Heavenly Father has in store for this place. As it is written in the book of Psalms 119 and 126, it is time for thee, Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, to work, for they have made void thy law. So we're just going to watch the Lord work. We're going to do whatever it is the Lord requires of us, and hope and pray that he has mercy on us when that work begins. So anyway, with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.